Hi and welcome back to the channel. On this channel we talk everything books, nursing, medicine and university related. Please forgive my voice. I've been unwell and I still have a bit of a strained voice. Anyway, today we're going to talk about nursing, and in London, or should I say in the UK and not London, we're having a nursing strike. And it's the first nursing strike in many years because it's written in constitution that as nurses we are not allowed to strike. However, the Royal College of Nursing, which is our union, took a ballot and nurses have decided to strike. Now you might ask, why are nurses striking? Well, that would be a good question. And we're striking over pay. And we are also striking over the fact that there's not enough staff on wards. So the wards are running short of nurses. But nurses aren't staying in the job because it doesn't pay them enough. Now, our lovely government, Rishi Sunak, who is our Prime Minister for those who are abroad, keeps saying that he's not able to afford to increase nurses' wages. Now, nurses are asking for a 9% increase, and the government is saying they can't afford a 9% increase. Now, my mom spoke to me about it, and she was saying that it was said on the BBC that nurses are earning 42,000 a year. And that's £42,000 for those who are not in the UK. And I thought to myself, I actually don't know any nurse who's earning 42,000 a year. So then I went online and I did some research on nurses' wages. And it says here that the average nurse's wage is 34,000 a year. However, most nurses is said to be on roughly about 27,000 a year. Now, I went a little bit further and did some calculation, and it turns out that 27,000 a year is, let's break it down, hourly is £14.03 an hour, daily is £104 a day, weekly is £519 a week. Bi-weekly, which is 2 weekly, it's £1,038, and monthly it's £2,250. Now that doesn't incorporate taxes, so the taxes will come out of that. Also, your pension will come out of that. So if you're earning £2,250 a month, let me calculate that because that's quite interesting. How is it that nurses are supposed to survive on such low wages? Now, after tax, these nurses will be earning or will be taking home after tax £1,820 after tax. Now, the average 2-bedroom in London is about £1,600. So if you're a nurse, you're taking home £1,820 a month. You have a child, and so therefore you are earning the 1,820. You have a child, you are paying for a 2-bedroom, that's £1,600. That doesn't include your council tax, your food, your electric, your gas, your travel, your child's lunch, all these different things. I mean, how are nurses to survive? And the government is saying that, they can't afford to give us a 9% increase, and 9% isn't much to ask for. So I can see why nurses are striking. And of course, the government is getting on the bandwagon and trying to tell the country that nurses don't need any more money. However, as I said, the chief executive of the RCN has not agreed, and we as nurses, we have not agreed. So there's been two strikes, one on the 15th of December and one on the 20th of December. Also, not only nurses are striking, but people like the postmen have striked as well, or post people. The railway, National Rail, London Underground, the buses have striked, and the government is making it seem as if they are not, we are asking for too much. But pensions are changing, retirement age is moving up to 70, all these different things are happening, and people just can't afford to live. So I think it's a good thing that they've organized this strike. I think it's really tragic for nurses to think that we put our lives on the line and we can't afford to live. It's said that nurses attend the food bank more than any other profession. And how can you have a country where nurses are attending the food bank? Inflation is 5%. So if inflation is 5%, then, and we're asking for 9%, that can't be much of a difference. Also, let's get back to that 27,000. That's a key amount because I qualified a long time ago. I can't even remember how long I qualified. And when I qualified, I started on, I think, about 25,000 a year. So in the last how many years, there's only been an increase of £2,000. That is unheard of. That is absolutely terrible. It is a tragedy for nurses, and it really is a tragedy for the government because they're saying they're refusing to sit down and talk. How can we have a government that is refusing to sit down and talk when nurses can't afford to live? It says here, speaking on the BBC's Question Time programme last night after a day on the picket lines with fellow nurses, RCN leader Pat Cullen said, unfortunately, if this government doesn't speak to us and doesn't get into a room, I'm afraid that this will escalate. So the government is saying they're not going to speak to nurses, not going to get into a room with nurses. That is terrible. So I do ask that you leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me if you think nurses have a right to strike. Tell me how you feel, because I feel absolutely awful to know that my beloved profession, the nurses, are not being paid.